Tiny homes are all the rage nowadays, whether it's your normal residence, a cabin, or even your Airbnb rental out back of your house. Chase and Jeremy are with Built by Design Construction to tell us all about their business in this sponsored interview. And I've already been picking your brains in the break because I think this is so fascinating. We've seen, you know, the tiny home reality shows over the last few years. They're so fun to watch, mind-blowing with what you can do with a space. Jeremy, let's start with you. Explain what classifies that tiny home.
Sure. Well, what we work on is, they're called accessory dwelling units. And like you're saying, we focus in Salt Lake City and the surrounding areas with building these houses behind a house. So a casita or a small house. It's a full structure, foundation, footing, just like your typical small house.
Chase, what is the sizing? Because it can range a little bit. So what do you think the smallest is? And then it goes up to how many square feet?
Yeah, well, so it varies widely. So there's always been a lot of regulations on what kind of ADUs can be built. It's actually only been since 2018 that homeowners could build an ADU in their backyard. And ever since 2018, regulations have been easier and easier to work with because it's been seen as a solution to our housing shortage, where we have a housing affordability problem. And historically, you can either build out into communities like Tooele or Saratoga Springs, or you can build up, building high-rise condos. ADUs are a way to fill in. And so as city planners and cities across Utah are trying to figure out how to grapple with this housing shortage, ADUs are seeing more and more as a part of the solution. And
you had mentioned up to even 1,000 square feet, which when I think of a tiny home, that seems like a pretty large, great space to save some money. Who's building these in their yards? Who is this for? Who's this helping?
Yeah, so a lot of our clients, they build them for either a family member to live in the back, also as rental income. And that's one of the big things of when it gets a little bit bigger, rental income for a 1-bedroom versus a 2-bedroom, you know, it's a lot better. And so it solves more of the housing problems.
Let's talk about the restrictions, because only from 2018 was this even allowed. So it's evolving. It's come a long way. What are you able to do now?
Yeah. So it's hard if you're a homeowner because it varies by city. Sometimes the code isn't very clear, and it's very dependent on what the primary structure, what your home is today. So one of the things we try to help do is shine a flashlight on those zoning issues and help folks who have a dream of wanting something in their backyard navigate that process. So it varies too much to even try to explain because it's city dependent and it's dependent on the home that you have in place. But there's some general guidelines. For example, generally you don't want an ADU to be taller than the primary structure. It has to be a certain proportion of the footprint of the primary residence. So it can get complicated really quickly, and that's kind of our job, is we're trying to come help homeowners who want to build a tiny home in their backyard or an ADU navigate that process.
Well, I think this is the most brilliant time for homeowners to be doing this, because the market's rough out there if you're looking to move, and any help, I think, with income is just so greatly appreciated. What conversations are you having with people who sit down with you? Are they saying, I need to save money, I'm not sure what to do for that extra income?
Yeah, I think with a lot of people, I would say they're trapped in their houses, but you know, the market's gone crazy over the last few years, but now interest rates are a lot higher. So they can pull out money out of their house, their equities, and then put it into the ADU and then create an income. So that's kind of one of the main things that our folks are looking for, is just income and extra space. And then also, like, you know, my 85-year-old dad lives with me, and I would love to put him in the backyard, but that's an option for a lot of folks to, you know, have aging parents live, you know, with them, but not with them.
I think that sounds like the best of all worlds. You can just go right out your backyard, go and check on them. They have their own space. You have your privacy. So you are the two who will sit down with you, help that person from start to completion of designing, building, planning that tiny home.
Yeah, ADUs can be seen as a hard thing to build because it's essentially a custom home shrunk down. So it's the same processes, electrical, utilities, framing, but it's from a design perspective, it's really fun because there's all these constraints on what you can build. And so our favorite client is one who just comes with an idea, and our job is to come help them turn that idea into a practical reality, figuring out what exactly it is they're trying to accomplish.
I think you two are going to be busy from here on out. What is the website? Where do we find you?
builtbydesignconstruction.com.
Perfect. There you go. Right there on your screen, everything you need if this sounds like a good fit for you. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank
That was
you.
so interesting.